Hello, EDA 610. This is Taylor Colden coming in hot to talk to you about my school safety video audit on Brenda Cowan Elementary School. So, the first image that you're looking at here is when our school was brand new, tidy, so clean, and in pristine condition back in circa 2019. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to discuss how I actually collected my data. My data for this audit came from myself, obviously, as an aspiring leader in that sense of perspective, but also within the teachers that I work with. Now, keep in mind, I've been at Brenda Cowan since the beginning, so since it was built in 2019. So some of the teachers that I talked to have also been there for this time. But I also wanted to be sure I got input from teachers that are new to our building, and specifically new as in a new school district. So I've gotten some information from teachers that had left Clark County and Madison County, and I believe Jessamine County. But more importantly than anything else, I also got some input from some students. And you will see that highlighted here shortly with some of my fabulous third grade students. So, welcome to Brenda Cowan Elementary School. These images hit the highlights of our school, some of the awesome areas. So, obviously, the largest picture here is what you can see coming off the bypass, off the interstate, really. Our school is immaculate. It is amazing. It is beautiful. It is so huge. We are very, very spread out. We have two major hallways, and you can kind of see it in the aerial shot, but even our parking lots and behind the school is huge. And we also have a lot of farmland around us, which is great, but also not so great if you're not into the whole creepy crawler situation because there's animals, snakes, spiders, you name it. And that's a whole nother sense of the word when it comes to being safe, but they're there quite frequently. And then we've got our playground at the top highlighted as well. As of now, BCE sits at currently like around 520 students, but it is tremendously growing. I'm sure it is with everyone else at this point in the year with transfer students. We have about 90 teachers and staff members, but we are in the middle of adding a couple more interventionist teachers. So we'll be sitting at probably around 95 before too long. Now, to highlight my wonderful third grade students, I made a writing prompt one day last week and talked about BCE being safe. And we turned it into a morning meeting kind of conversation, turned into a social skill lesson. Y'all know the drill. So the top one says BCE is safe because the teachers are very protective to their students. Another detail is we have two security guards. Another reason is the doors are very heavy to open and the doors are very strong. A final reason is the walls are very thick and strong, so they will not be broken. The second one says, I think BCE is safe because there are two police in BCE. Another reason is because our school has safe places to stay in the school. Last reason is because there are a lot of cameras for the principal in case something bad happens so they can see if they help us. This is the reason why I think BCE is safe. So obviously, even though it's just two observations, it is evident to see that our students at BCE definitely feel safe here. Now, according to a new instructional strategy that we're using at our school, I kind of wanted to use it here. So we're changing our walkthroughs to praise and polishes. So here you can see the highlights of the 5 areas in each praise and polish that I concentrate on in this presentation. So praise are positive elements. We have the positive elements of exterior door signage on most areas, front office sign-in system, our monitoring system, our safety and threat assessment team, and our SRO team. Polish areas, so areas of growth, are weak doors that do not always lock properly. Door alarms are not set during the school day. Exterior signage for buses and parents. Missing emergency procedure maps and door curtains in the classrooms. And teachers holding exterior doors open. Now we'll go through and hit the highlights of each one. So praise item 1 is our front entrance signage. Our front entrance is on fire. Not literally, of course, but it is immaculate. This is definitely where most of our support and technology and security measures are. It is well marked. It is also understood in all languages because we are a high English language learner school. So we have easy, friendly, simple language for everyone to understand who comes into our building, as well as cameras, badge entrances, and screens that actually show who is at our door before we can let them in. Moving on into the front office, when you actually enter the office, is our sign-in system. And again, you see awesome signage. You see our documentation log that is handwritten, but then also is documented electronically to keep for records. Again, it's easy to understand directions. And there's the monitoring system and the map screen to show where people are in the building whenever they have their visitor badges on. And there's new emergency codes in classes that will sign or show up on that map screen whenever there are emergency places in an area of the school or in a classroom. Praise item 3 is the actual monitoring system in itself. A lot of this is different this year. We actually have alarms in classes that are silent alarms. We've had them before, but they haven't really worked until this year because we do have a couple students that like to run, if you know what I mean. So there's actually scanners in our classrooms that allow us to hit a certain button that is silent so the kids don't even know that we're pushing it. And it will light up different colors according to how many times we push the button on that screen to let admin know or someone on our SRO team to come into our school building. Another praise item is our school safety team. We have 3 mental health therapists and 1 guidance counselor. They are continuously seen in the hallways on a daily basis. They host small groups, they host lessons in the classroom, and help us influence and actually do part of their curriculum within our classroom every single day, specifically in the mornings. And our last praise item is our SRO team. And if these pictures aren't evident enough, I don't know what could be. So we have 2 full-time permanent SRO officers. We just previously only had 1, but we gained a new one and they are both incredible. They have an office. They collaborate with our teachers even when we look crazy dressing up for Halloween. And they're even evident and present outside on the playground when we're at recess. Now for polished items. We do have a lot of doors that do not lock properly or are weak. And by that, I mean are not locking completely. They can be pushed open. Now, there's a lot of hot topics, I guess, when our school was being built for our staff that have been here and that have stayed, because we feel like in a lot of ways the construction was kind of rushed. And that's probably why some of these happen. So the first one is a teacher bathroom that won't lock appropriately. So you can only imagine how many times people have entered that when someone's actually using the restroom. Then there's a leak showing in one of these images from another teacher bathroom. And then the next picture is an exterior door that doesn't really have any extra cameras, any signage. And this door actually doesn't work with a badge. And it's to our cafeteria, which can be really frustrating if you're trying to get in. There was an emergency outside and you can't get in through the cafeteria. We've had problems and problems and problems with this door, but it's not been consistent enough for it to stay fixed. And then speaking of doors, another polished item is actually our door alarms. In both of these images, you can see one was taken earlier in the day and one was taken a little bit later in the day, but this is when the time period, it was dark all the time last week. But both of these time periods, the door alarms were not on. So it's questionable to teachers to whether or not it's our responsibility to keep them locked all the time if we see that they're not locked. So the alarms on the actual sides of the door should be beaming red. And when they're green, like they are right now, it means that they're open. So it's just a question to ask or problem solving question to ask, like whose responsibility does that rain on, just to promote more safety. Another polished item is the big one. So, bus and parent signage. The amount of times when we have had events at our school and people don't know where to park, or when buses have come and don't know where to pull in because we change how we do dismissal 18 times in the beginning of the year to see what works, is pretty frustrating. Again, our campus is huge. So, you can see one of these images where I'm actually pulling into our building and there's no signs to direct you which way to go. There's 2 main ways to enter our building, but again, neither are labeled to show you, do you go into the beginning or to the front of the building? Is that where buses go? Or are you going to go to the side of the building? Am I allowed to park there? Is that where teachers park? Is that guest parking? Is that where parents drop off? So I think it'd be really awesome to add some simple signs here just to allow people to know where to go and just help with the flow of traffic. Because again, my elementary teachers know dismissal still is a mess. It's always going to be a mess. And I think helping aid that would be the production of some signs. Another polished item is classroom emergency materials are missing. So normally you should see on the glass door a curtain that comes down for lockdowns, as well as a map that shows 2 different routes of fire drills and severe weather drills and et cetera, for each individual teacher to go to because you can't all go to the same place during a drill. In both of these classrooms, those things are missing. Polish item 5, probably the worst one that kind of irks me a little bit because this door is close to my classroom, so it makes me a nervous Nancy most of the time. Some of our teachers really like to leave doors propped open, and I caught them in the act today, so I was trying to be really sly when I got these pictures, but they'll put a textbook down and leave the door wide open. Not only is that not safe, it lets all the cold air in too, but more so, they're trying to be clever a couple days after I took this one, and they've put one of the classroom doorbells on the outside of the door so they can hit the doorbell and then someone will come get them. But I feel like that in itself is very unsafe too because you don't actually know who's ringing the doorbell till you turn around that corner. It could be too late. So after looking at all of the data and just collecting conversations, I've hit all of the polish areas one more time and developed some next steps to help potentially solve these problems. So the first polish area was some doors are weak and do not lock or shut properly. So some ideas or resolutions here are to order new lock mechanisms for the problemsome doors or add an adult schedule to help supervise those areas of need just to help keep people visible. The next area is door alarms are not set during the school day. It would be an easy fix to reinforce a door alarm system to teachers and have some support adults monitor it throughout the day, whoever is in the hallway, whether it's an SRO, an admin, or even a behavior interventionist that's kind of monitoring transitions. Or you could conduct daily checks and create a schedule for different people on the support team or admin or safety team to check during the day. Lack of exterior signage for buses and parents. I think the simple fix here that we probably needed to do 5 years ago was to add exterior signs for buses and parents to understand transportation details. 4, missing emergency procedure maps and door curtains in classrooms. This seems like an easy fix too. We need to add those visual reminders back onto those boards, into those doors, and probably conduct more drills and trainings for teachers just to continue that practice to make sure everything is known. And the last one is teachers holding exterior doors open. It would be awesome to see some peer accountability amongst teams and recognition for those teachers that can actually lock those doors and maybe some positive reinforcement for the ones that are actually doing it because you should be doing it anyway.